Breaking Arsenal transfer news. Gunners, this could be one of the biggest transfer stories of the summer. Imagine Arsenal lining up next season with one of the world's most complete forwards leading the attack and one of the Premier League's best midfielders controlling every game. Welcome back to Arsenal Daily Talk, your #1 destination for the latest Arsenal transfer news, breaking updates, match analysis, and everything happening at the Emirates. If you love Arsenal as much as we do, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's dive straight into today's massive Arsenal news. Come on, you Gunners. Today we're discussing two sensational names that continue to dominate Arsenal transfer conversations: Julián Álvarez from Atletico Madrid and Bruno Guimarães from Newcastle United. If even one of these transfers happens, Arsenal's title ambitions could reach another level. But if Arsenal somehow managed to sign both, the entire Premier League would be put on notice. Let's begin with the name sending shockwaves across Europe. Julián Álvarez, the Argentine World Cup winner, is once again being linked with Arsenal. After proving himself in England before moving to Spain, Álvarez has developed into one of football's most complete attackers. He's not simply a striker. He can play as a centre-forward, as a second striker, on either wing, or even behind the striker as a creative number 10. That versatility is exactly the type of player Mikel Arteta loves. Arteta has repeatedly shown that he wants intelligent footballers capable of playing multiple positions. Álvarez perfectly fits that philosophy. He presses relentlessly. He never stops running. He scores goals. He creates chances. He works for the team. Those qualities explain why Arsenal reportedly admire him so much. However, there is one enormous obstacle. Atletico Madrid reportedly value him at more than €150 million. That valuation immediately makes this one of the most difficult deals Arsenal could attempt this summer. For comparison, that fee would rank among the biggest transfers in football history. It isn't simply about paying the transfer fee. Arsenal would also need to offer huge wages and convince Atletico Madrid to sell one of their biggest stars. That is why many supporters remain cautious. The admiration appears genuine. The player certainly fits Arsenal. But turning admiration into a completed transfer is another challenge entirely. Still, football has surprised us before. Huge transfers often appear impossible until suddenly negotiations accelerate. If Arsenal genuinely believe Álvarez is the missing piece needed to finally win the Premier League and challenge seriously for the Champions League, they may be prepared to explore every possible option. Imagine this attack: Bukayo Saka on the right, Gabriel Martinelli or another winger on the left, Martin Odegaard creating chances, and Julián Álvarez finishing everything. That would terrify defenders across England. One reason Arsenal continue searching for another elite attacker is consistency. Last season there were moments when Arsenal created plenty of chances but failed to convert them. Championship-winning teams rarely waste opportunities. Arteta knows that. Adding another clinical forward could make the difference between finishing second once again or finally lifting the Premier League trophy. But while Álvarez dominates headlines, another massive story is developing. Bruno Guimarães' Arsenal supporters have admired Bruno for years. Many believe he is one of the best midfielders in world football. Reports now suggest that the Brazilian wants a new challenge after helping Newcastle return to the Champions League. According to the latest rumours, Bruno has informed Newcastle that he wants to compete consistently for the biggest trophies. Even more exciting for Arsenal supporters, reports claim Arsenal would be his preferred destination. If true, that would represent a huge boost. Every transfer becomes easier when the player wants to join your club. However, wanting the move and completing the move are completely different things. Newcastle reportedly remain determined to keep their captain. They see Bruno as the heart of their project. He controls matches. He leads the dressing room. He inspires teammates. Replacing someone like Bruno would be incredibly difficult. That explains why Newcastle are expected to demand around £80 million before even considering negotiations. For Arsenal, that is another enormous financial commitment, especially if they are also trying to strengthen other positions. The big question becomes, Can Arsenal afford both Álvarez and Bruno in the same transfer window, or will they eventually prioritise one over the other? That debate is dividing supporters everywhere. Some believe Arsenal desperately need another striker. Others insist midfield remains the bigger priority. There are convincing arguments on both sides, and that's exactly why this transfer window has become so fascinating. Coming up in part 2, we'll analyse exactly how Julián Álvarez and Bruno Guimarães would transform Mikel Arteta's tactical system, compare them with Arsenal's current stars, reveal the possible starting 11 if both deals somehow happen, and discuss whether Arsenal can realistically finance these blockbuster moves while remaining within financial regulations. Now Gunners, let's go even deeper into these incredible transfer stories, because this is where things become really exciting. If Arsenal are seriously exploring the possibility of signing Julián Álvarez and Bruno Guimarães, then this isn't just about adding two world-class players. It's about changing the identity of the team. Mikel Arteta has spent several years building Arsenal into one of Europe's strongest sides. Every season, the Gunners have moved closer to winning the Premier League, but the final step has remained frustratingly out of reach. The biggest question Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta must answer is simple. What is missing from this Arsenal squad? Many supporters believe the answer is straightforward. A ruthless goal scorer who can decide the biggest matches and an elite midfielder who can dominate against the very best teams. That is exactly why the names Julián Álvarez and Bruno Guimarães continue to generate so much excitement. Why Julián Álvarez could be Arteta's dream forward. Let's begin with Álvarez. One of the reasons he is admired across Europe is because he never relies on just one quality. He's quick, he's intelligent, he's technically gifted, he presses defenders relentlessly, he creates chances, and most importantly, he scores in crucial moments. Arteta demands intensity from every player. Every Arsenal forward is expected to defend from the front, chase defenders, and help win possession high up the pitch. Álvarez already excels at exactly that style of football. Imagine Arsenal pressing Manchester City or Liverpool. Kai Havertz leads the press. Bukayo Saka closes down one side. Gabriel Martinelli attacks from the other. Now imagine Julián Álvarez joining that pressing machine. Opponents would have almost no time on the ball. His movement inside the penalty area would also create more space for Arsenal's creative players. Martin Ødegaard could find even more passing lanes. Saka would receive fewer double markings. Martinelli would have more room to attack defenders one-on-one. Sometimes signing one elite attacker improves the entire team, not just the goal tally. That is why many analysts believe Álvarez would fit Arsenal perfectly. Can Arsenal really afford him? Now comes the difficult reality. Reports suggest Atletico Madrid value Álvarez at more than €150 million. That is an enormous amount of money. Arsenal have invested heavily over the last few years. They've strengthened the defence, the midfield, the goalkeeper position, and the attack. Breaking another transfer record would require careful financial planning. That means Arsenal may need player sales before making such a huge move. Several squad members have been linked with possible exits. If significant sales happen, Arsenal's transfer budget could increase considerably. This is why the coming weeks may be absolutely crucial. Supporters shouldn't only watch incoming transfers. Outgoing transfers could determine whether Arsenal can finance another blockbuster signing. Bruno Guimarães, the missing midfield leader? Now let's turn to Bruno Guimarães. Whenever Arsenal have struggled in difficult away matches, supporters often ask for one thing: more control in midfield. Bruno offers exactly that. He can dictate the tempo, win tackles, break opposition attacks, carry the ball forward, deliver key passes, and score important goals. He's the complete modern midfielder. Perhaps his biggest quality is composure. Even under intense pressure, Bruno rarely panics. He always seems to have time on the ball. That calmness allows his teammates to move into dangerous positions. Imagine Bruno receiving possession from William Saliba. Instead of playing a simple sideways pass, he drives forward. Suddenly, Ødegaard receives the ball between the lines. Saka begins his run. Martinelli attacks the far post. Within seconds, Arsenal have turned defence into attack. What makes this deal so difficult? Coming up in part 3, we'll reveal how Arsenal could realistically finance both transfers, examine whether selling players could unlock these blockbuster deals, compare Bruno Guimarães with Arsenal's current midfield options, and reveal a dream starting 11 that could challenge for both the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League if these sensational moves become